So I had an experience yesterday. I had an experience at Mandela Park. Well, first of all, the Manifesto Jamaica group, they were having something in the park, and they told me about it and invited me to come down. And so I decided I was going to go. It was crazy because all day I'm thinking I'm just going to go for a walk and walk down and so on. And just as I was about to leave the house, Wayne came and I just took a ride down with him. And then I walked from Mall Plaza down to Mandela Park. It was my first time in Mandela Park for about, I don't know, many, many years now since I've been into that park. And my first impression when I got in there was just like, oh my God, this park is amazing. It is absolutely amazing. They have an amphitheater. They have different areas where they have shops set up. I mean, they have food areas. They have areas where you can go and buy your tickets for whatever it is that you're buying tickets for. Or, I mean, it's their information booths. Their security is all, I mean, it's all over the place. I mean, it was, and people are just kind of milling around and just kind of hanging out. And there's a lot of places to sit. There's all these different walls and they kind of flatten them out. So there's all these different places where you can just sit. It's just a beautiful, beautiful park. And so yeah, I enjoyed it thoroughly. And I enjoyed the performances that they had in the Manifesto presentation. And it was good for me to see the folks on Manifesto again and just to share some hugs and just all the vibes, I learned that there was another show that was going on in the park, and it was a comedy show. And so when I heard the list of individuals that were going to be there, there is no way that I was going to miss that show. So I heard that Love in There was going to be there, Food Cartel was going to be there, Professor Nuts was going to be there, and those were three. Well, Professor Nuts is just like an all-time favorite for me. So I was looking forward, really, really looking forward to seeing him. And I got a touch of Food Cartel's music on Ron Mouchette's show. And I was so excited I actually was getting the chance to see him perform in person. So that was very exciting. And so I went over to the show. And I went way down to the front because I really wanted to get a close-up view of all of this. And I had my little camera with me as well. And I was thinking that maybe I could take some shots, you know what I mean? That's what I little vibes, that what I energy. And I sat there and, well, the first two comedians that came on, they weren't my cup of tea kind of thing. I mean, they tried and I'm not, saying anything about that, but they just never shake me them kind of way there. But then it started to get better. One DJ you would come on and him talk some things as well, and then Food Cartel came on. When Food Cartel came on, they couldn't find his music and all that kind of stuff, and it was kind of difficult, for him to get going at first because the music couldn't go up. But the man just kind of kept on jumping him on some little a cappella thing, and I thought he was an amazing, amazing entertainer, and everything that the man, sing was just a hit with the crowd. People are just very excited to the point where he went off stage and then he came back on, he did one song, then he went off stage, and even in between other people's performances, everybody just kept on asking for Food Cartel. So he did a really, really good job. Love and Dare came on after him. Well, somebody else came on after him, and then Love and Dare came on. And I was just kind of sitting there waiting for Professor Nuts to come. And while I'm sitting there waiting for Professor Nuts to come, I felt like a hand on my shoulder, kind of in an aggressive kind of way. And then I look up at the person and say, come. And I said, what's the problem after? And he says, come. And then, he's grabbing my hand, and I'm standing up at this point. He's grabbing my hand, and as I'm starting to walk forward, I feel him dip into the back of my pants. The man dip into the back of my pants to grab me up and drape me up, so like I'm walking on my tippy toes kind of thing. I had to remove his hand from my pants. And when I did it, he grabbed again. And so the second time when I removed his hand, he never put it back. But I'm just thinking at this point, what's going on? I have no clue what's happening. This thing is just coming just out of the blue. So we walked out to the front, and when we got to the front, they're pushing me through the gate. And they're telling me at that point in time that the people don't want me in the place because I was videotaping. So my thing with that is, at first I said to him, I said, well, couldn't someone I just come and said stop videotaping? Or what, the stuff that you videotape is illegal, you know, let's like erase it. Or couldn't someone just come and say that to me? I'm thinking, was it necessary for someone to come and drag me out of the place and drape me up in the middle of, I mean, a packed house? Drape me up and walk me all the way to the front, and when we got to the gate, that is when they told me what the problem was. I'm thinking the organizers of the event could have made it so that they just simply made announcements periodically throughout the night. Every time the MC came on, just remind people not to videotape because of the sensitivity or because of whatever it is that your reasons are. But it cannot be that I am sitting in the show, watching the show, then all of a sudden all of this happens. That makes no sense to me. So I tried talking to the officer and he wouldn't talk to me. And, you know, at one point in time, I got angry and I swore at him and I said, you know, I can't understand how the F you could behave like that. And at that point in time, he moved to me and he said, well, you know, if you cuss one more badu, then, you know, we're going to go down to the station and stuff. And the man is grabbing me at this point in time. He's got his hands grabbing me, not just holding on to my shirt, but holding on to my flesh. And I push off his hand, and this man is telling me that if I touch his hand again, that there's going to be problems. He's going to take me down to this, slap cuffs on me and take me down to the station. At this point in time, I really and truly, it's just like, it's almost like I'm an outsider just observing the whole situation, observing what it is that, you know, they're saying, and observing just, you know, even my reactions to it. You know what I mean? One of the organizers came and he started to apologize right away and said, you know, like he did not know what was going on and blah, blah, blah. And he just started to talk and talk and talk. And it went to a point where the cops decided that I guess they were going to let me go or whatever. So they unhanded me at that point. I mean, literally, they unhanded me at that point. And after they unhanded me, I started to talk. And what, you know, the guys just said, you know, like, look, just relax, just enjoy the show and stuff like that. You know, you came out to enjoy the show, go enjoy the show. I went back inside and I sat down and I was watching the show. And at that point in time, I felt that I was doing Professor Nuts injustice, you know, because I came out to see him. I wanted to see his performance because it's someone that I really enjoy. I enjoy his music. I know, like, I can sit here and just DJ Professor Nuts tune after Professor Nuts tune. I really wanted to just kind of sit there and just watch and just enjoy and just laugh my head off. But the situation was kind of weighing on me because, for me, it happened for a reason. But it was kind of weighing on me, and I was thinking to myself that, you know, if I just kind of walk away from this, then that guy, that police officer, he's going to do it again. You know what I mean? And if nobody talks to him, because at the end of the night, I went and I spoke to, you know, his superior. And, you know, he was just saying that basically nothing's going to happen and, you know, this is how these guys act and they're just, it's just the pressures of the job and so on and so forth. And I'm telling him that absolutely that's rubbish to me right now. Because there's absolutely no excuse for a human being to treat another human being like that to begin with. But if you are the person, you are the law, you are someone that is supposed to be above and beyond, because you are supposed to uphold that which we have difficulties falling into. And if you're going to treat me in that way, then how can I respect your authority? I just can't. And so the reality of it is, I think that if we don't talk about things like this, you know what I mean? They're going to continue to do it. And so I am going to launch a formal complaint against this officer, and I'm putting it in writing, and I'm going to put it in. It's not to be malicious, it's not to be any kind of mean, any of that kind of stuff. I am hoping that what will happen out of this is, rather than people to get bitter and get angry about what it is that's happening, but take it as an opportunity to learn, take it as an opportunity to teach. Teach him how to do better next time. And what it is that I saw in the way in which he responded to his superior when his superior told him that I came complaining to him. I run if I run with that. I run if I run with that, man. Who can chatter? Run if I run with that. That was his response. And so to me, that just cannot be. I left the show early because I just felt like I didn't want to give Professor Nuts that kind of energy. You know what I mean? Because I really came there to see the show. So I decided to leave. And I spoke to one of the organizers after the show. I went backstage. And, I guess they just said some things and, they apologized and all that kind of stuff. One of them asked me for my number and I gave it to him. And this morning he called me. And he gave the phone to, I guess, one of the senior organizers of the event. And she spoke and she apologized for what happened and just, said she's going to talk to them again and so on and so forth. I told her that I was gonna do something about it too. And I am, because I think it's necessary. I think if we stand by and allow this kind of behavior and we get used to this kind of behavior, this is not how we're supposed to get used to people treating us. That cannot be. And I'm thinking that the nature of that show, everybody was sitting down, people were laughing, people were enjoying themselves. The nature of that show was just one of goodness. It was just a nice vibe. And if our police in the middle of such a beautiful vibe would see it fit to behave this way, then they need some work. They need some work. These cannot be the people that we put to uphold the laws.